provide them a functioning, learning environment without the pump around. So we've got to have some sort of give from the school district on that.
I would tend to agree with that on change order number 4,
yes.
but I believe change order 1 through 3 would be costs that we would.
Well, yeah,
Absolutely.
those don't have anything to do with the school district.
Okay.
The fourth one is the one I'm talking about.
Change order number 1 is probably going to save us a tremendous amount of, at least that much money again, if we
Certainly would.
if we did it incorrectly and then had to go back and repair it.
Yep.
On change order number 4, are we realistic that it's going to only be 1 month, or do you think we'll have to have more months of the pumping?
It depends on when we approve it. I mean, the contractor will be ready to have us start pumping around probably tomorrow. And if we wait until next meeting, we've lost 2 weeks in getting it in place for that, and it really will put us behind the 8 ball.
I understand the critical time nature of it, and I think it's something that's going to have to be done one way or another. So I'm of the oath that we move forward with it as proposed today, but then I think there should be a conversation with the school board to say, here's the additional cost we're taking because of this. I understand we've lost a little bit of our leverage at that point, but we're not leveraging the right things if we're trying to capitalize on that. I mean, it's a school that's going to be filled with kids that we don't want to push anything out. Teachers need to get in there. But I think it's a conversation that needs to be had with USD 231 to say, here's what we're going to have to absorb because of the timeliness of your project, not the timeliness of ours. And we think there should be a partnership in those costs.
My biggest concern is the open-ended nature of that, and the fact that we have no assurances whatsoever this is going to be more than 30. This going to be less than 30 days.
But they're under the other flip side. They're under no obligation. We're going to have to do this one way or the other, or the school's going to be delayed, and that doesn't serve the community in the least. So that's why I think that's where my vote will be.
So even number 4 is not part of anything that was required by building a new school and
No.
putting in the infrastructure.
It's only a matter of timing. You know, if we can move forward, after tonight, then we'll still be meeting their deadline, at least by doing the pump around. If we don't, then we may delay them a little bit. They'll still be working on porta potties and might be still doing so when the teachers get there to set up classrooms.
I have one more just general question, and I know, Jim, you probably didn't put all this together, but forget about change order number 1. I can understand that you really don't have visibility to that till you actually get in and do the work. But these other 2, I guess I would think that perhaps these are things that we could have included in the spec package. I mean, is there, I guess, lessons learned that, hey, now that these are things that we look for, and they should have been included initially?
Certainly, it certainly could. We had taken some cores of the asphalt that, when we did the borings for the rock, it did not show any change at that point, and they were all taken in the north lane. The south lane apparently was thinner. So, yeah, we should have taken some in the south lane, but that's,
Okay.
Hindsight for that.
Nope, I understand.
And the curb and the drive that we're looking at, pretty much the same thing. As we took our pictures out there, yes, it was fairly obvious, after the fact that it was low and we should fix it before we have a nice, finished street out there. But we did not detect that going in.
Okay.
Any additional questions? In which case, I'd like to allow time for public comment on this subject, on this agenda item. If anyone wishes to be heard on agenda item, new business item number 1, please step forward. That being the case, I'd entertain a motion.
I move that we authorize the city administrator to execute 4 change orders to the contract for White Drive Sewer Project in an amount not to exceed $56,516.53.
Second.
Motion Freeman, second Shoot, that we approve, authorize the city administrator to execute 4 change orders to the contract for the White Drive Sewer Project in an amount not to exceed $56,516.53. Any additional questions? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. New business item number 2. Consider adopting a resolution approving the 2014 through 2018 County Assistant Road System Program, or better known as CARS, program for the road improvements within the city of Gardner. Tim?
Yes, each year the county requests that each municipality submit their CARS 5-year program of projects, so which we did in April. The projects you have on the council action form before you are the ones that we just submitted. I think it's worth noting that as far as commitment, only the 2014 project is what we're committing to doing. The outlying years, 15, 17, and 18, the purpose is more for planning for the county and us as well for future costs. Excuse me. So really the purpose of this resolution is the county wants to make sure that each community is fully committed to the project. So that's simply the purpose here. The resolution says, okay, we're committed to this. We'll send this to the county, and then they'll begin their process of selecting the projects and determining what the funding for each project will be. The specific project that we're looking at for 2014 is 183rd Street and Center Street Signal Project. We're estimating the total cost to be a little less than $300,000. The CARS only funds 50% of construction costs, so we've requested the maximum amount that we can receive on that, which is $123,900. Be happy to answer any questions.
Tim, can you kind of re-educate us on what it qualifies for CARS submission? Is it anything that we pick, or is there a certain...
No, it has to be on routes that link cities together. It's a little fuzzy definition, but that's generally it. So for us, it's mainly arterial roads.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have a historical, percentage or success rate of the request? If we turn in the request, or what our odds are of actually having that granted, so we can...
Yeah, in recent years, essentially every community has been getting one project funded.
Oh, great.
Now, maybe not always fully funded what we ask for, but generally everybody gets one project.
How do you arrive at the CARS requests column? Is that a percent of the...
It's 50% of the construction cost. So we would pay anything beyond, like, for instance, design, utility relocations. The city would have to pay for that themselves, ourselves.
So you're saying construction costs $148,000, roughly. 248. Correct. Sorry.
I have a question, Tim, about the, we have requests for 2015, 17, and 18.
Yes.
We don't have any projects on the schedule, CARS eligible products for 2016?
We left that as a placeholder because we're anticipating that possibly Waverly Road might be a project that we'd want to go through in 2016, which would be a joint project, possibly a joint project with Edgerton.
Okay.
So that is a project that they were to submit, and we would be listed as a co-sponsor. There you go. Thank you.
And
Thanks for not saying conspirator.
In 2015, the Moonlight Road rehabilitation, is that a regrading, or is that actually a widening of Moonlight Road?
It's a little both. It's mainly overlay with some ditch work, but that's I think it's a 2-inch overlay is what we're looking at. So that's the bulk of it.
But no widening of the road to 4 lanes?
No.
I-35?
No.
And Tim, I know we've talked in council meetings in the past about getting a traffic signal at 183rd Street and Center.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that's something that I had brought to your attention earlier to discuss. Have we reached the warrants for that to happen?
We've reached one of the warrants, and we're approaching. And there's no definite line where you say, okay, we've reached one of the warrants. I believe there's either 8 or